friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Amanda. So in today's What's for Dinner video, I've got some really easy weeknight meal ideas for y'all. These go together really fast and you'll have dinner on the table in no time. And I know when we're all busy, that is definitely an important thing for sure. So I'm excited to share these recipes with y'all, but let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's get started on the slow cooker shredded Mexican chicken. And y'all, this recipe was so good. I didn't even get a picture because I meant to make something else with it, and my kids like demolished this. So I just put a little oil on some chicken breasts I have in my crock pot. I've got some spices here: chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, all that kind of stuff like that. And then we're just going to sprinkle that over our chicken, and we're going to add in a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes but drained, and then some green chilies, and also just a little bit of brown sugar. I only used a tablespoon. The recipe said 3 to 4 tablespoons, but I do not like a lot of sweetness like that, so I just did 1. And then I've got some mild salsa, and we're just going to put the lid on it, cook it for low 6 to 7 hours, or high 2 to 4 hours, depends on which way you want to do it. I did it on high. I think this took somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, maybe something like that. But you can just check it and see, you know, when it's done, whenever you're, or if you need it to cook a little longer, that type of thing. It still should be good in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove my chicken breast so we can get it shredded up. And y'all, this recipe could not be any easier. It truly is like just dump and go. I love recipes like that because it just makes it so much easier to get everything thrown in the crock pot, and you don't have to worry about like fiddling with anything. Now this recipe is, I was actually going to use it to make these things, I think they're called smothered chicken burritos or something like that. Sounds completely amazing. However, my kids, when they tried this, loved it so much that they just ate it like as burrito bowls and stuff like that before, because I made this the day before I was going to make the chicken burritos the next day. And they wanted it for dinner that day. They wanted it for lunch the next day. Like, they were obsessed with it. So I did not even get to make that other recipe. So I definitely will have to make these again. That way I can share that chicken burrito recipe. I've never had that before. I really want to make it. But once you've shredded this up, you just return it to the pot. It does say to like let it cook just a little bit to like absorb some of the liquids. Mine didn't really have to do that too much. I felt like there wasn't too bad liquid left. It also called for liquid smoke. I did not have any, so I didn't put that in here. I bet that would be really good in this as well. But it was fantastic the way it was served on burrito bowls, in quesadillas. So many ways you could use this stuff. Yeah, so we really enjoyed it. So next up we have easy chicken and dumplings. And my kids love chicken and dumplings, and I have seen a lot of times people use like canned biscuits with it. So I thought, well, that would be a great way to use canned biscuits and a really quick version of chicken and dumplings. So I'm just adding some onions and celery into my pot to saute. And I actually had shredded carrots on hand. It called for carrots, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to use shredded ones because I need to use them up. And that worked out perfect. Plus, it saves you time, no chopping or anything like that. Now, I have also made homemade chicken and dumplings. And y'all, those just can't be beat. But this was really great for just like a quick, easy, you know, weeknight dinner that you could just throw together. Especially like if you had leftover chicken, if you had rotisserie chicken. I'm sure you could even use canned chicken in it. It really is a very versatile recipe and makes it so quick. Now I just added in some thyme, pepper, garlic, things like that. You can always, you know, kind of improvise on whatever spices you like in your chicken and dumplings. And then we're going to go ahead and add some chicken broth to this. And then I'm also going to add some cream of chicken soup. I always use like either the no salt added or like the, I think it's called Healthy Request. It's like reduced sodium. Those are just a little bit healthier than the full sodium versions. And so I tend to use those when I use that type of thing. And then we also added in a couple cups of water in here. Now we're just going to bring all of this to a boil, and then we can get started adding our biscuits in. Now I did take an extra step with the biscuits. I wanted them to be like a little bit thinner of a dumpling, and so I did roll them out. You absolutely do not have to do that step. You can leave them just whole biscuits and just quarter them, or you can put them to eighths if you want to, however kind of big you want your dumplings. But I spread these out and then cut them into fourths. So that worked out perfect. And once we get all those cut up, we're just going to add those to our are boiling liquid, and you just want to kind of make sure you stir that around when you add those so that you don't end up getting them stuck together and that type of thing. Now you'll see here in a minute, I kind of did mine a little backwards. I was supposed to add the chicken before I add the biscuit pieces, and so you'll see me stop and add the chicken after I had added a few biscuit pieces. So I just, you know, a lot of times I'm in a hurry and I don't always read the instructions as well as I should, but it works out fine. Didn't make any difference at all. But yeah, we're going to just get all of these in here, and then that's going to actually simmer for about, we're actually going to cover it and simmer it for 20 minutes. You do want to stir those occasionally, just because, again, you don't want them to get like really stuck together and that type of thing. And now this pot that I'm using, which actually I need to show y'all sometime, you'll see a lid that's kind of funny because it has holes in the lid. And so I actually added some foil on the top so that it would kind of block those holes. This was just the best pot that I wanted to use, or the pot I wanted to use this day. But this pot I absolutely love. I ordered it from Target when it was on sale one time. The lid actually locks in place, and you can use it as a strainer. And so you literally just flip it over, and those are your straining holes. It is such a lifesaver for pasta and stuff like that, and you don't have to dirty a whole nother like strainer. And so I love that. I'll try to maybe show y'all how it works sometime, because it's literally one of my favorite pots now. I absolutely love it. So now that our dumplings are cooked, we're going to add a little heavy cream in there. That's just going to make it even more creamy and yummy. Y'all, this was a really good, super comfort food kind of meal, and you really can't beat how fast it is. Especially, just make sure you already have some cooked chicken on hand. That's going to make it go by so fast. Rotisserie chicken would be great in this. Yeah, so I cannot recommend this recipe enough if you love chicken and dumplings but want to have like a quick way of making them. The other way is not super long, I feel like, but there are a few steps, especially if you go, you know, purely homemade from boiling the bone-in chicken and all that stuff like that. And man, that stuff is good too, because I made one from Loretta Lynn's cookbook. Oh, those dumplings were so good. But this is one of our favorite type of meals, is chicken and dumplings, so it was fun to try a really quick and easy version of it. So definitely recommend these. And now we've got our breakfast for dinner. I don't know about y'all, but I do love breakfast for dinner. Usually they're pretty quick and easy meals to make. I wanted to try this recipe. It's like a hash brown egg casserole. The recipe did call for like ham, and I can't remember if it had other stuff in there, but my husband doesn't really care for ham. And so I thought I'm just going to make it plain, and then that way everybody can kind of, you know, eat with whatever they want to eat it with. And so you just got your hash brown patties in the pan there, and then I put some shredded cheese over it. I used about a cup of cheese. The recipe actually called for 2 cups. And then I've got my eggs, my milk. I added garlic powder and ground mustard to this as well. And y'all, I just used, I think, sharp cheddar for my cheese. The recipe called for like sharp cheddar and Monterey Jack blend, but I didn't have any Monterey Jack. And but yeah, we're just going to blend this up together, mix it really well, and then pour it over top our hash browns with the cheese there. And I usually, like when I've done quiches and stuff like that, I mix the cheese in it. But I kind of like this idea of the way it was done here, because I almost feel like it made the cheese like, you know, in more equal areas. Because when you kind of mix it together, you can't really guarantee where all it's going to go. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and cover this and bake this at 350 degrees. Now, it tells you to bake it for 25 minutes covered, and then you uncover it and bake it for another 20 minutes. I will tell you that mine took longer than that. So just make sure that the eggs are fully done, that they're set, and you'll be fine. Now, since I wasn't putting meat in this, in the egg bake, I wanted to make some biscuits and gravy. And so I just wanted to do a quick drop biscuit instead of actually doing something that, like, you know, requires me to pat it out on the counter and all that stuff. And so I've just got some flour in here, some baking powder. The recipe called for sugar, but I do not like sugar in my biscuits, so I did not add that. And then I've got some butter melted and some milk, and we're just going to kind of mix that together. I did add just a little bit of salt in here to give it a little bit of flavor. You know, y'all know I try to watch my salt, so I don't add a lot, but because I know that the sausage gravy is going to have salt in it too, so it kind of helps make up for it. But I actually kind of made these probably a little too big, so I didn't show it, I don't believe, but I actually grab a little bit from each one to make sure I have, I think I got a total of 12 biscuits once I kind of grabbed some of each one and made a couple extra. And that worked out fine. So we bake it at 450 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until the edges turn golden brown. Here is our casserole. Y'all, that was super, super good, that casserole was. I was really impressed. And I just made some homemade sausage gravy. I've showed that before, so I didn't show all the steps to it. But if y'all need me to, just let me know in the comments and I can find that video where I made it too. And there's our biscuits. They didn't really turn too brown on top, but they were just perfect for a quick biscuit and gravy because this meal came together super fast. And I also loved how this cut like a perfect little square once you kind of loosen that edge. I just think it made it look so pretty on the plate when it was like that little perfect square. But I feel like sometimes some casseroles don't always cut so perfect. But yeah, this was such a delicious meal. I also went to the farmer's market and got some homegrown tomatoes. And y'all, I'm telling you, homegrown tomatoes are so much better than what's in the store. And they have just so much better flavor, color, everything. And so this was an amazing meal. It was definitely so delicious to have all together. And I just love biscuits and gravy. It's literally one of my favorite things. So I'd love it in the comments below if y'all would let me know some of y'all's favorite dinner recipes you had this week. I love seeing what else other people make too. But thank y'all so much for joining me today. I appreciate your support each and every time you watch my videos. If you like this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. I hope you each have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one.